Another run-in with the cops. For about 3 years, I did 6 a week between Melbourne and Sydney. Now, it wasn't always straight throughs. Sometimes it was Melbourne, Sydney, Melbourne, Sydney, Melbourne, Sydney, Melbourne. Sometimes it was Melbourne, Sydney, Sydney, Tarcutta, Sydney, Tarcutta, Sydney, Tarcutta, Sydney, Tarcutta, Sydney, Melbourne. Sometimes it got as far down as Albury. You get that in big jobs. Well, this particular night was a bit out of the ordinary. This was actually a Friday night changeover. I'd already made it back to Melbourne. I was doing a Friday night Tarcutta changeover, last trip of the week. And I get pulled into Broadford. It's the cops. Not Vic Roads, the cops. 1 car, 3 guys. So I get pulled in. The old sergeant stays in the car. One of the fellas starts to walk around to the truck, do a bit of a visual inspection, see what he can find. The other fella takes my logbook, hands it to the old sergeant in the car, and then starts firing 20 questions at me. Where have you come from? Where are you going? What are you carrying? How heavy are you? When did you leave? Truck looks good. Did you wash it? All these questions to try to catch you out. Anyway, he catches the eye of his sergeant, who signals him across. He goes over to the window, comes back to me and says, old mate wants a bit of a word. I thought, this will be fun. So off I toddled to the car. And old mate's sitting there with my logbook. And he says, so how many days have you worked in a row? And I said, this is my 6th. I said, I'm doing a changeover tonight. When I get back to Melbourne, that'll be the end of my week and I'll have 24 hours off. He goes, I've gone back 22 pages in your book and I can't find your last 24-hour break. I said, oh, you've got a problem then? He goes, no, you have a problem. I said, mate, no dramas here. He's got his little police issues spinny wheel, which you can set on the beginning of a date or a time, and it will tell you how far you can drive or how many days or these sorts of things. And he's got his little wheel there and he's got my book. And he's quite upset because I've done 22 days straight, apparently. Well, if he looked even further, he would have noticed that I would have done about 75 days straight. But that's another story. So I say to him, before we get a bit carried away with this, I said, it's Friday night now, right? I'm going to finish Saturday morning. I said, can you go back to last Saturday morning? So I say to him, what time did I finish on Saturday morning? And he looks at it and says, 6 a.m. I said, cool. Turn the page to Sunday. What time did I start Sunday? He goes, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. I said, there's 24 hours right there. In fact, 27 hours. He goes, I missed that one. I said, wait, there's more. I said, I started 9 a.m. Sunday morning. What time did I finish? And he looks at it and goes, 7 p.m. Cool. I said, turn the page to Monday. What time did I start? 8:30 p.m. There's another 24 hours. I said, and you go back a week before, a week before, a week before that, you'll see the same sort of pattern. And he goes, I'll be buggered. So you do 6 trips a week and you have 2 24-hour breaks off. He said, I wouldn't have thought that was possible. It's all about how you organise yourself. Now, just for reference sake, interesting little point. They tell you, for fatigue reasons, it's best to sleep when you sleep and work when you work. Don't mix it up. If you can get yourself into a pattern, all the better. But then they say you can work 6 days a week, but you can't work 6 nights a week. You can only work 5 nights and 1 day. So tell me how that works. But that's why I was doing a daytime Sunday and then 5 nights a week following. Worked like clockwork. Every week, not a hassle in the world. Now, thankfully, this old bloke was talkable and I could show him what I was doing. There was no real argument and he accepted what I showed him. And he actually said after, I'll be buggered, I didn't know you could do that. He said, well, you've taught me something. I had no idea. Now that is a good copper.